Ja, das ist gut. Hello and a big welcome here in Berlin to our live audience worldwide. Thank you for tuning in with us tonight. Well, it might be morning at your location, but no matter where you are, we are very happy to welcome you here at the Urban Nation Museum in Berlin, for what might go down in history as the most important exhibition about the work and life of the beloved photographer Martha Cooper, titled Martha Cooper Taking Pictures.
Yeah, and before we start, let's introduce ourselves. With me is my beautiful co-host. She's one of the first female graffiti writers in Europe. She started out in 1983. She's part of the TFP crew, the Fantastic Partners, a worldwide leading graffiti crew, and she's member of the City Curatorial Amsterdam. Please welcome Mickey, aka Mick La Rock.
And you heard him on the radio and you've seen him on the TV show. Now he's making podcasts, and a very familiar face to anybody involved in hip-hop Germany. Next to me is Falk Schacht, Germany's longest running hip-hop journalist who has been reporting the music and the culture for over 25 years.
And as you see, we are standing in front of the Urban Nation Museum, and inside there is like the exhibition, and we will take you for 60 minutes around with us. There are awesome pictures that you have never seen before, and I'm very curious, we are curious, so come on Mickey, let's start, yes. Go. Ah! Bum rush. We are standing now in the entrance area of the Urban Nation Museum. And Mickey, how would you describe Martha Cooper to a person who doesn't know her?
Martha Cooper is a very famous photographer from New York City. I know her from her graffiti photography because that's where I'm from. I grew up with the book Subway Art. But what a lot of people don't know is that for the 50 plus years that she's been photographing, she has not just photographed graffiti, but a lot of other things out of normal life. And besides that, I want everybody to know that she's an exceptional person and a huge sweetheart.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and that's the reason why we take you for the next 60 minutes through this exhibition, and we take a look at a lot of those pictures that are not really all about graffiti, like the section Tokyo Tattoo, or for example Soweto. We will see all that. There is a big mural which is like a remix of a picture from Martha Cooper. We will see artists at work. It will be so interesting. Come on, let's go. Now we have the director of the Urban Nation Museum with us, Jan Sauerwald.
Hello.
Jan, can you tell us something about making a huge exhibition like this in this very difficult COVID-19 time?
Actually, it was kind of a challenge, even though we had a wonderful team and the curators, Jaime Rojo and Stephen P. Harrington, located in New York, did a wonderful job, even though it was bringing up a lot more of communication, as you can imagine. We had them here last time for 2 site visits, and we planned much more to produce the show together with them. We miss them hardly now at the opening and during the installation, and for sure we do miss Martha Cooper especially, because this is her first bigger retrospective in a museum, and we would have loved to have her here for these events that are upcoming now with tonight, and we planned so many other things you can imagine that couldn't take place. So it's, on one hand, it was a challenge. We did manage it, and yeah, now Martha Cooper is not here. I hope we will fly her in for another event next year, because the show is running until August 1st, 2021.
Okay, but now we have a pre-recorded message for you guys, so watch out. It's a surprise for you.
Hello, I'm Steve Harrington, one of the co-curators of Martha Cooper Taking Pictures exhibition at Urban Nation here, and I'm in New York with Jaime Rojo, my co-curator of the exhibition, and we're so happy to welcome you from New York with the star of our program, the fabulous Martha Cooper. So we'd like to welcome all of you for coming to the exhibition, and we're proud to be here and proud that Martha...
I'm going to take a picture
right now.
Hi, welcome.
Hello.
Hello, welcome to the exhibition, and we hope you guys enjoy it and have fun tonight.
Yeah, have a lot of fun.
Have fun.
We worked hard on it, and
We wish we were there.
can edit
You know,
it.
it's really sad that I can't. We've been working on this exhibit for over a year, right?
It is,
That
yeah.
Jaime and
Right.
Steve came to me, and we've worked really hard. And I'm so happy and grateful that Urban Nation agreed to have it. But I'm so sad that I can't be there. So I just want to welcome everybody. Hi, hello. Wish I could be there, and I hope that you enjoy it. We actually had a lot of fun putting it together. It was a lot of work, but we had a lot of fun. And I hope that before it comes down, that the situation, the pandemic, will clear up, and that I'll be able to go to Berlin, and that maybe we can have a closing.
Yeah.
And I hope to see everybody there at the closing.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yo, Mickey, I really like that statement. We are the sons of the ghetto and we will survive. I really love that statement.
Why do you like it?
It's such a powerful statement from people that, you know, it's like just self-empowerment, and I really, really like that.
Totally, and I like something else that I saw here in in the vitrine.
Oh, fuck.
It's the hand-drawn original of that piece, and I am like, look at me, I get goosebumps seeing this.
Oh, fuck. Look at her. Really, she got
I
goosebumps.
really did. It's
Same for me, fuck.
it's an original drawn by Scheme, and
He doodled it.
no, he didn't doodle.
Sorry.
I have no words. Sorry, I'm
What else
touched.
is here?
But yo,
You're
look
really
at-
touched, right?
Look at this. This is the hand-drawn original of the famous Dump Koch piece. Koch used to be the mayor of New York, who did a huge breakdown on graffiti. He built fences. He put dogs and wolves in between fences to keep the graffiti people out. And the graffiti writers made a protest against it, more or less by writing something like this on the trains. And I had never thought there would be a sketch to this. So
It's so
amazed.
unbelievable. It looks like a napkin to me. It's so astounding, really. I'm so impressed.
But if you look, it's like cut out papers out of a sketchbook, and they are just kept somewhere in an archive, in Martha's archive, and they are still there, which is, just amazing.
Yeah, she's also like a living archive, really. Like, What is that?
Well, I'm proud to say, but this is the dummy that Martha and Henry Chalfant made for their book, their famous graffiti book, Subway Art. And they took it with them to the Frankfurter Buchmesse to pitch for publishers in the hope that they could make a real book out of it. But I, of course, only know the real book, which was the foundation of my career and the one of many other graffiti artists from my generation worldwide. And
This is unbelievable.
how could I ever have known that there was a dummy? And how much would I die to have to go through the pages in this book? But to see it here is just amazing.
Look, Mickey, I really love those pictures of Martha Cooper because this is like, to me, it's the real thing. The whole dirtiness, the garbage. Look at her shoes. Today, kids, they clean their sneakers with toothbrushes. And to me, this is the real thing. This is hip-hop to me because it looks dirty, but look at her. She got so much dignity. And this is the perfect thing to me.
Well, the whole picture does have like this, what we see as a hip-hop thing with the graffiti and what was referred to us as hip-hop when we were young. But if there's one thing I can for sure say is that Lady Pink did not like hip-hop at that time. She was a rocker. She listened to rock music, as many kids did at that time. Hip-hop was a new thing.
I see. So hip-hop was the thing that started in Europe when it came here. In the US, it was like Blade scene. They were really like rock kids, right?
Is the Wiz, Satch, they all liked rock music. And they, when I got to New York for the first time, one of the first things they were very clear to me about was like, never think that we were hip-hop.
I see. Let's go over here because those pictures are really astounding to me, and I have seen them so many times, and I ask myself, how come? How come that these pictures are so important?
Well, as you see, they show how it was done. They show the morning glory, and you're still painting in the yard, and you got to balance between the trains and make a great masterpiece like this top to bottom that made him famous. And as you see, for us, this was like almost like a manual of how graffiti was done. Look at him, how he's concentrated, thinking about his color schedule. And he had to change the caps because he's obviously only having one. So he's got to like see like where do I put the cap on, which color I'm going to use next. And this is a lot of think work. And then there is the group of writers like getting together at some guy's house and going through the black books and through the photo albums and talking probably only graffiti. And for us European young writers, we had no experience and no examples except for a photo like this. And with a bit of imagination, we said like, oh, so if we write graffiti, we got to get together and start drawing in black books and make photos of our work and document it in photo albums. We had no idea. And it was Martha. And that was special because for the graffiti artists to have somebody photograph them in the middle of the night, which is of course also a sort of evidence that they did it, but also for a photographer to be allowed to go with them in the yard, that is really special. And
you can listen to it at the sound station here.
At the sound station.
Great.
Go for it. Hey.
Hi.
Nice picture, right?
Yeah, I really like it. I know it for a long time, and I always loved it.
Are you a writer?
I'm a writer, yes.
What do you write?
I write best too.
Can you tell us if Martha Cooper's work has influenced you as an artist?
Of course, like from the beginning on, like when I started writing, there was no graffiti around, there was no internet. So we looked at the pictures of her in the books, and it really influenced me and all the kids around me at that time, back in the days.
Thank you so much and enjoy the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, have fun.
What do you say? I would say this is so Marta.
Why?
Because the eye for detail, like every sticker is like put in an order and exactly centered on the pages, and there is so much love and care being put in this collection. And there's a photo of her taking a picture of one, and to have that mirror thing in there, it's a nice little detail.
What would you say is why she's so interested in sticker? Why she became interested?
Well, the stickers came later than the graffiti, for instance, and it was just one little detail, and she has so much eye for detail, again, that she noticed on the streets. And by the time she started working with a digital camera, this was her way to master the technique of digital photography.
I see. I mean, she was interested in tagging in the 70s already, like we see here, and she took a lot of pictures. This was kind of a new development, and I mean, we even have some German post stickers. What would you say was the reason for graffiti writers doing this sticker stuff?
Well, imagine that with the technology, the going on development of technology, there are eyes in the skies everywhere. And putting a tag takes time and movement. But putting a sticker, you can just stand here and just like put a sticker somewhere in one movement and nobody notice. So you prepare it at home and then you go on the streets and...
I would bet that Martha really liked the idea of putting a sticker like a secret behind you, like, yeah. Yo, Mickey, speaking of stickers, here's the postman. I got a lot of stickers with me because there was a call to send in some stickers for this wall here, and take one.
I like. It's like getting a present, but then for the museum, here we have.
Oh, great. The United Vandals of the world. Show it to them.
1 or 2 currency. And let me see if I can put it on the wall, as the museum already did before me when the first batch of stickers arrived to the museum. And of course, I'm having a sticker that doesn't like to be taken off its protective paper.
But you can still send in stickers. You still can send in stickers, and you can come here as a visitor and put your sticker on it. Yeah.
And this came from Catalonia, Barcelona.
Nice.
Let's do one more. Here we have mail from Köln in Germany. This is like...
Wow. What is that? Street art against hate, to live and let live.
Let's put it up.
Great.
Oh, and this one goes easier. I like that. Look. Perfect. Just break it, take it, stick it. Well, this is what's going to happen, of course. That they will be put on top of each other, but...
Yeah, but maybe we will take a look at it in 1 year when the whole wall is full of your stickers.
And looking at where all the stickers come from, we have some from the USA and from... This comes from Sweden. I'm just gonna grab another one.
Oh, it's really messy.
There's so much that we don't know. Here's Hamburg, Berlin, but I saw one from Holland as well. Anyway, we have so much. And you can keep on sending in stickers. Falk, do you know Selina Miles?
Unfortunately not. Who is she?
She's an Australian filmmaker, famous from the 1990s for her viral graffiti videos. She's a good friend of Martha Cooper. And last year she made a documentary about Martha. It's called Martha, a picture story that was shown for the first time at the Tribeca Film Festival.
I very badly wanted to be a photographer. I was willing to do whatever it took, and it turned out it took a lot.
So Mickey, on every screen I see Martha here, jumping around, having fun. What is this installation about? Tell me something about it.
Well, this is a video installation that Selina Miles especially exclusively made for Urban Nation, for Martha's exhibition. And the installation is called The Rushes. I don't know too much about this installation, The Rushes, but also not about her documentary, Martha, a Picture Story. And sadly, Selina can't be here because of the COVID-19 situation. But pre-recorded, we asked her some questions, and let's go and have a look at her answers. My first question, Selina, is can you tell us something about how the documentary Martha, a Picture Story got together?
So Martha, a Picture Story came about after I'd met Martha Cooper at a street art festival in Tahiti, and we worked together for a couple of years, and I approached her to do a 10-minute sort of short doc piece about her work in the graffiti space without really having a proper understanding of all her other amazing projects. And when I got to New York to start shooting, I realized that there was absolutely no way it was going to fit into 10 minutes, and that's when the project kind of expanded eventually into a feature film.
Selina, it must have been hard to incorporate the whole work life of Martha Cooper into your movie. I think it's over 50 years. It's quite impossible, right?
It was extremely difficult to decide what to include and exclude from the documentary. There's whole books, there's whole entire projects of Martha's that we don't mention, and I like to tell people that the film is just a starting point for getting to know Martha Cooper's work and her career. And you know, I think we shot about almost 70 hours of footage, which in documentary terms isn't that much. It was only a 2-year process of documentation. There's other films that go for much longer, but still, you know, 70 hours of footage and you end up with sort of 85 minutes that make it on screen. So it is a very sort of divisive process and very difficult to choose the best moments. And that's kind of what inspired the installation that we're seeing in Urban Nation today.
Selina, I'm standing here in the middle of the installation and I'm asking myself, what is it about? What is The Rushes about? What do you want to tell us about Martha Cooper?
So this installation is called The Rushes, and it's the product of all that sort of wonderful material that I shot in the making of Martha, a Picture Story that just didn't make it into the film for one reason or another. When you're working with a sort of narrative structure like a documentary, you have to be really divisive about what you include, and every single minute has to serve the story. And you know, for that reason, a lot of moments that are really beautiful or really telling about a person's character just don't make it in. And this was an opportunity to give that footage a new life and a home as part of this beautiful retrospective. So I sort of went back through all of the material that I shot over 2 years working with Martha, and just started to pull out moments, group them together in sort of in categories that I thought was telling about Martha's practice or her eye, and just sort of allowing them to play out over a kind of non-linear multi-channel structure. And I think that hopefully when you move through the space, you know, there's so many different channels at once that you can sort of find something different every time, and on a few different watches you can start to build a better understanding of Martha and what she's interested in. And I think that this is the only time that people are able to sort of get a a look at Martha in present day and the way she works. So I think that's really valuable in understanding her as a photographer. So yeah, hopefully it's a nice little finisher to the exhibition, and I hope everyone finds something in there that they didn't know about Martha beforehand.
Well, thank you, Selina, for all your answers and being with us here. We wish you a very good evening out there in Australia. Bye from us.
Hi to everyone at Urban Nation, and thank you for putting together this amazing exhibition. Hello, Marty in New York. I miss you. I haven't seen you in ages, and I hope you're well. And hi to everyone watching. Thank you for tuning in wherever you are in the world. It's 4 a.m. in Australia, so hopefully I'm awake and watching, and I hope you enjoy.
Okay, Mickey. Oh, who's that?
Well, 3 times guess.
I don't know.
Well, it's me in Brooklyn in front of a wall that I painted there. I think it was 2011. And of course, Martha came by to shoot the whole wall and all the writers that were painting. It was the celebration of the crew anniversary of my friends, our friends, of the 123 clan. And yeah, I can remember it as a very nice time.
The section where we are standing right now in is like 2 walls of artists at work. So what would you say is the connection between these walls and the work of Martha?
Well, she definitely likes to capture artists at work. In the process, as we already saw when we were looking at the Dondi photos, how artists work, what height, you can tell, like they work on a certain height, they work on their knees, they work holding cutouts, and she's just there with her camera and captures it. And where we are now, there's like almost 200 photos where you can see very famous and less famous artists, but it's all about, I think, the combination of artists and the color and the art that they make.
I mean, that's the reason why she calls herself a documentary photographer, because what she's doing is really documenting people expressing themselves. In a funny way, she is expressing herself, showing people expressing themselves.
Yeah, and not only in like and when we're talking about a documentary photographer, it's not just from one era. If you look really well in all these photos, you see photos from the early 80s, graffiti artists from the early 80s, the subway art times, but also artists from last year and all the years in between.
What I think is funny is that, like what you said, like the pictures from the 80s, this is the start, and her pictures started a chain reaction, and she's now documenting the chain reaction she caused herself. That's fascinating to me.
Yeah, and what I like is when you look well, there's also a real good balance of male artists and female artists. Whereas in the early 80s, that balance wasn't there at all. And here you see how many women paint. And this is also what I respect Martha for showing the power of the women in here.
I think here is the same. I think a lot of ladies started painting because they saw like Lady Pink painting, or they saw you painting or stuff. So I think again she is responsible for all the things that we see here, not only taking pictures, but the things that happen that she's documenting. She's the reason for that, I think. Mickey, I think this is the follow-up to the Artists at Work section. This is Keith Haring painting a wall. What is happening here?
Well, here he's painting the Houston and Bowery wall, which is up to this day still a very famous wall for muralists to make artwork. Yeah, as you see, an artist in action. And then we can ask ourselves, why did Martha choose to make this photo as a big blown up poster size?
What is your opinion on that?
Well, I would say it's Keith Haring, and he is just so famous and loved by a wide audience.
I mean, it's like Martha, we're not only documenting graffiti, she's well known for that, but she did so much more than that. Do you think he played a different role in her art in her life? Why was she picturing him?
I think she pictured him just like she pictured all the artists that we just saw at Artists at Work, because he's an artist in action and he's making vibrant art, and she just loved to take pictures of people doing their thing.
Do you think that she ever thought about the thing that like graffiti writers were thinking about? Like he's a street artist and he's not a graffiti writer. Do you think that she ever made separations like writers did?
No, I think her vision is very neutral. It's just an artist at work. But for me, as a graffiti artist, of course, I grew up with the knowledge that Keith Haring was not a graffiti artist, but he was a street artist avant la lettre. He did paint in the subways, but not on the trains, but in the subway stations, not with spray paint, but with chalk. And once in a while, he would use spray paint, but basically he would use ink or paint and regular paints. But he lived in the same era and the same hipster scene as where a lot of graffiti artists would meet each other. So it's like this whole cross communicating of arts and styles. I mean, we're talking Andy Warhol, we're talking Jean-Michel Basquiat, we're talking about all the graffiti writers that we see here in the graffiti section in the exhibition. And Keith Haring collaborated with certain graffiti artists in his work as well, which made him, of course, being regarded as a graffiti artist when curators had no idea what was the difference between graffiti and art.
Do you think it was for Martha more exciting to be with the graffiti writers because, like you said, he was not breaking as much laws as the graffiti writers, like being in a yard and cutting fences and stuff like that? Was it more exciting to her?
Well, I cannot speak on Martha's behalf on that, but I could imagine that she kind of liked that little bit of adrenaline feeling of going to the yard with the kids, yes.
Yeah, I think also. Mickey, this is a mural that the French artist Seth painted last week, and he can't be here, but he pre-recorded a message for us telling us about the idea for this mural.
First, I asked a child to make the drawing because me as an adult it's very difficult to draw like a child. So a friend of mine, daughter, did the drawing. I gave her the picture and she did the drawing. I reinterpreted a little bit, of course. And then I took some picture in the ground in Berlin, and to do the links with the picture of Martha and with the drawings and to make all together. I think it was interesting to have these three stuff, like the picture, like the place, like Berlin with these drawings, and the idea was to make the city on the picture like it's the drawing of the child, like the child himself reinterprets the city.
Now that we know where he got this idea from, let's take a look at the picture that Martha took in 1978 on the Lower East Side in Manhattan. It's a kid drawing on the street. It's over there.
Yeah, and this is a perfect example how two sections in this exhibition are matching or coming together, which is Martha Remixed, where artists, basically street artists, interpret her work or her portrait as a token of honor, appreciation, or just as inspiration, because Martha's work is so inspirational. And there's this other section where we are standing now. It's called Street Play, which actually shows so many kids playing on the streets in the 70s in New York, but there's also sections of other parts in the world where Martha took her pictures of. We have Haiti, Mexico, and for instance, here we are standing at it's 78, it's New York. Martha was a reporter for the New York Post, and while she was on her daily assignments as a journalist and a photo reporter, she was able to take pictures of kids just playing innocently on the street, imitating adult life by making a shop with beer cans, or here making a hut and cooking like their mothers would do and put like leaves from the trees inside the pots and cook. I don't know what they do, but they're like breaking apart a baby bed and maybe making weapons.
Yeah.
And she sees this.
Look at this. This is so great.
How
Think
much
of that
fun.
in today's times. It would never happen.
No. But it's amazing. Hi, Michelle.
Hello there.
Can you tell us something about your role in the exhibition?
Certainly. So I work for a company called Yesen Productions, and we have been overseeing the production of the Martha Cooper Taking Pictures exhibition.
And now something. We are standing in the street play at the Skelly Game section.
Yes. Skelly game, Scully game, there were lots of different names for the game, and it pretty much depended on which kind of area or neighbourhood that the children were from, that they named it slightly differently, and the rules would be slightly different according to the area in which the children were from.
And how was the game played? Like how can we visualize? Because we see here Martha's photos about it. There is a display with some items for the game, but can you visualize this for our...
Certainly. Children would mark out with chalk on the floor, normally on the street, the board of the game, and they would actually make their own caps. So the caps became like an art form in their own right. So sometimes they'd get elements of the street to make these caps, whether it was like digging out tar from the road and pressing it in, or wax crayons, or basically sanding down these glass bottle caps from the street to give it a smooth running. And every kid kind of would learn from the older children the sort of little tricks to make the caps a better playing.
As Falk and I are almost about to go to the first floor, can you already give us a little hint about what we're going to expect there?
Certainly. Well, I think that the Seth mural behind you is a bit of an insight into what's coming upstairs. And you can expect to see a lot of artist reinterpretations or remixes of Martha's seminal photographs.
We're here with a very special cast from a graffiti crew that I'm personally a huge fan of, and I know Martha is even a bigger fan. It's a member from the One Up crew, famous, infamous crew from Berlin, basically.
Exactly. And Martha got two very big connections to Berlin. One is subway art, which was very influential to the first generation of Berlin writers. And the second big connection is you guys. Could you tell us how did you get in contact? What did you with her?
A couple of years ago, I'm not quite sure when, like four, maybe even 5 years ago, we met at the Urban Nation event here and asked her if she would join us for an action, because for us also Martha was very influential. We saw the photos, and for us it would kind of a big dream come true to go out, have an action, and her taking photos. And the very next day she came along. We were out together with Nika Kramer, and it was just such a nice flow. We did a back jump, went on a roof top, drank beers, and in this super nice Berlin summer mood, the idea came up to do a book. And first Martha was books are finished, books are over, but with a little bit persuasion, she kind of was grabbed by the idea, and we made the project work. And a year later she came over and she spent about 7 to 10 days with us. We did a lot of actions, crazy actions, nice actions, had a super nice time. And in the end we had this book, 1 week with One Up, which we made together with Nika Kramer and Martha Cooper. And since then we are friends, having adventures with her all over the world. As you can see here on the wall, here we paint a whole car with her in New York, and down here we paint a whole car in Sydney. So it's a strong relationship which kind of grew over the past 3-4 years.
Mickey, where are we at here right now? What is this?
We're here at the Tokyo tattoo section. Martha used to live in Tokyo around 1970, and at a Buddhist festival, which is called the Sanya Festival, men show their tattoos, and Martha decided to, for the first time, combine her background in ethnology and her photography. and she looked to photograph tattoo artists, which was a very underground movement. And this is actually the first series that she made photographing a subculture.
Okay, so would you say that this is significant because it's the first time that she ever came in contact with the subculture and documenting it?
Yes, for sure. And that's why this is a very important part of this exhibition. And as a matter of fact, one of my personal favorites.
Why?
I like tattooing.
Oh, okay, I see. But I see it's not only about tattoos. I see a lot of books here. So a little bit like a library. Take a look with me at the books here.
Yes, this is the library. It's Martha's library. We're sitting here having a couple of her books in front of us on the table. Everybody who visits can just like read them and look into them. I got the Tokyo tattoo book here, of which the photos are in the same room. Here is Tagtown, Street Play. We got Subway Art, of course, with Dondi on the cover. There's the Hip Hop Files, the We Be Girls, New York State of Mind, and behind us, all the, like a lot of all the other books that she published. She published more than 20 books. And in the other cabinet, there are the books that were dedicated to her by famous artists, Keith Haring, Days, Ozymeos, Shu, and...
This looked so crazy. Is that a real fire or what is happening there?
No, this was at the Las Fallas Festival in Valencia, Spain, 2 years ago in 2018. And the street artist Okuda, he made a sculpture, and by the end of the festival, the sculpture was put on fire. I would say a bit like the Burning Man.
Wow,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, and this is, by the way, this is the catalog we were looking at, and it's not just the catalog.
No, it's a book about Martha Cooper.
Nice.
Having this beautiful catalog, the book about Martha, right here in front of us, in this great exhibition, during this really nice opening event. And then it's pretty weird and sad that Martha Cooper cannot be here herself because of COVID-19 measures. And the same counts for the curators of the show, Stephen Harrington and Jaime Rojo. We miss them dearly, so we decided to put a camera in New York and give them the word.
Let's take a look at it.
So we're here in New York, in Martha's Place, and we're celebrating the opening of this career retrospective at Urban Nation. And we're just going to chat with each other about whatever comes to our minds. And Jaime, I think you were thinking of...
Yeah, I have. I read one of the answers that you gave to one of the magazines. But this is the thing. You talk about waiting for hours to shoot a train that was coming on the line. It was in the Bronx.
Yeah.
And the way you describe it is like, not only did I have to wait for hours for one side, then I have to wait for hours to take the other side of the train because the trains were painted on both sides, correct? Is that what you said?
I did, but I didn't always wait on both sides the same day.
So you went back?
There was a period of time when every day I would go up to the Bronx, and I'd either go in the morning or the afternoon. And sometimes I'd go, like, I'd try to hit rush hour. That was the thing. I would go the morning side, the light directly hit. Remember, the trains are running north and south.
Yes.
The morning side, the sun rises in the east. It hits the train. And so I would stand there, especially the number 2 line. It took 5 hours, and it turned around. And so if I stood there for 5 hours in the middle of a vacant lot in the South Bronx, I could see if there was anything interesting to take a picture of. Or if I went in the afternoon, same thing. I would see the same trains going, but sometimes different cars. Like they might have fewer cars on in the afternoon.
Okay, so but then is that, so of course that's passion for what you were doing, in my opinion. My question is, so it's like a photographers have to have patience? Do you treat it like a...
Yeah, but you know that I don't have any patience.
I know, that's why I'm asking you the question. How do you do it? I mean, like you have to have it.
Yeah, you do, but you know, fishermen do that too.
Well, exactly.
It's when you start getting the pictures, then that's enough of an incentive to get more pictures.
See that.
So that, but remember, there was no digital photography. So it wasn't as if I could look at my camera and go, oh, I got the picture. I had to it was Kodachrome. I had to send the film away because Kodachrome is a unique processing.
Was
And
that in
only
Rochester?
Kodak can do it. No, there was a processing plant on Long Island.
Okay,
And so it would take 2 days.
right.
So I wouldn't get to see the film for 2 days.
You didn't even know if you got the shot
No.
until they
No,
arrived
and
back.
of course, if you make mistakes, like everything was set by hand.
Yes.
It could be out of focus. It could be
Do you
the wrong
often get the
exposure.
shot?
It could be the what?
Do you often get the shot?
I didn't often get the good shot. No, okay. I go looking for a location, right? I set up this location. The train goes by. On any one train, well, there weren't good pieces. You had to wait and wait and wait and wait, and then finally one piece comes, and you have to be ready. And then what if just as that one's coming, you see it over there, another train comes, and blocks you? That happens.
It's like a gut punch.
Yeah.
I was thinking also about the exhibit and this collection, which ultimately turned out to be 35 different artists reinterpreting your work. Could you have imagined this when you first started shooting photos, that the work that you would do would also inspire somebody else?
No,
It's sort of unusual.
I didn't. That wasn't part of my thinking process.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I wasn't imagining. No, I was imagining getting published in magazines.
Right.
That's all.
Those were your goals.
Yeah, and my goal was not to exhibit my work.
Never.
No. Because, I don't call myself an artist.
Right.
I don't like that word.
But
For
even if you're a documentarian, a document is good to exhibit because it shows people.
I know, but my
a
goals
place in time.
were not about exhibiting.
Right.
They weren't.
No, they were about publishing.
And when you see someone do an interpretation of your photo and it is quite unlike your original photo, how do you process that? Like, how do you think about that?
Well, it depends if I like it or not.
Yeah, right?
I mean, sometimes I think, wow, this is amazing, but I don't like it. And sometimes I think, wow, this is amazing, and I love it.
Yes.
It's on a case-by-case basis.
I think it's great that there are younger artists that look at your photographs and they feel inspired enough with the work that you have done to also recreate a piece. And I think that must be
It's
flattering.
heartwarming, very flattering.
Yeah, that's very nice. That's very nice. And then there's.
I want to say one thing here.
Yes.
Graffiti writers don't like that. They call it biting. If somebody copies a piece, they get all upset about it and they call it biting.
Yes.
I don't mind when people bite.
No.
A little nibble here.
Exactly.
What about the timeline? This timeline represents almost your entire life, starting from
age 3
Yeah.
until
To
this
2020.
year, right? 2020. It has an amazing number of
That's
benchmarks.
74 years, a lot of years.
Lot of years.
70 plus years.
Yes. With a lot of benchmarks.
Yep.
A lot of.
Speaking of
sometimes-
benches,
Speaking of
Speaking of
benches.
benches.
Were they all positive benchmarks? Were some of them a little easier to
no, there's some
discuss
really,
than others?
well now, if you're going to be a photographer, if you're going to do any kind of freelance creative work, you have to be prepared for a lot of rejections. So I put the rejections in there because I thought that young photographers would enjoy reading about those. And I had some huge rejections.
The timeline, a career in photography. What do you think?
I think it's really beautiful to see Martha's career displayed in a timeline from when she was born in 43 all the way down to now, 2020.
It's awesome.
And it's really awesome. You see like her first camera, and we can go like down like all these things that we didn't know. Like she photographed kids playing hula hoop. She photographed her sister, won an award.
What is the most impressive thing that you learned of this timeline?
Well, you know I am from Amsterdam, right?
Yeah.
And I had no idea that she visited Amsterdam a whole summer long in 1962. And she already took photos of what maybe the word graffiti hadn't even been assigned to the art form, but there's some some graffiti on like a closed shop that has been painted with brushes, not with a marker, because that hadn't been invented yet. And she photographs it.
Yeah, it's really impressive. And I thought of, she's interested in paintings on the wall. So in 1962, it was already there.
And I mean, I would really like to know what other pictures she took in Amsterdam at that time.
Yeah, ask her.
I will.
So other things that are nice to you here? This maybe her first real graffiti picture?
And then it says Soul Brother, Soul Sister, and it's from 68, in the time that soul music came up. And she captures it. This looks like it's in Harlem, maybe. I'm not sure. But it's the average people hanging on the stoop of their homes.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just average life, the beauty of average life.
Yeah, and she's documenting that stuff.
And I also like the Tokyo tattoo, as you already know. But here is a photo of Martha taking a photo of Horibun I, the traditional tattoo master, in 1969, and making a tattoo on one of his clients. And yeah, the silence and the somehow it's very peaceful.
Absolutely.
And she's totally into her role of being the photographer documenting.
Yeah, I think what you can say about her is that she's really interested in the life of human beings and what they are doing, and like also looking for similarities, like this is New York and this is Haiti, and both kids do the same. And it's always those kids. I think maybe that's my interpretation. It's the innocence that she's interested in, because
and their creativity.
Fantasy.
The creativity of people.
Yeah.
And she did the same as what you say, like Haiti and New York, but Soweto in South Africa and Soweto in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. She did the same in her Soweto project, of which we have some photos here as well.
Yeah. Now we come to the hip hop part, where she started to take pictures of, and again it's the same thing. She loved to take pictures of kids, and I think what a lot of people are missing is that hip hop is a culture that was invented by kids. So that's how she met hip hop, because kids invented it, creative like kids. And this is also interesting to me. This is the Village Voice. Like it's her picture of Frosty Freeze, as far as I see it. And they call it physical graffiti because like the term breakdance already was not there. And the whole culture was not called hip hop back then. It's 1 year later that the whole culture is called hip hop. So that's interesting to me too.
And what I see is this photo, which for me is also like a milestone, where she meets Henry Chalfant, other New York graffiti photographer, and with whom she in the end made the Subway art book. Hey Inka, what's up? Long time no see.
All good, all good.
Yeah, really nice seeing you here at the exhibition. How you like it so far?
I love it. It's, I mean, it's an exhibition I was waiting for, kind of. Yes.
Has Martha Cooper's work influenced you as a writer?
Of course, because back in the days we only had those photos, no internet, nothing, you know, and then those books like Subway Art and Spray Can Art, and was the biggest inspiration along all those films like Beat Street and Wild Style or Style Wars. And the books we had, you know, we had every time with us, so yes, was the biggest inspiration.
Thank you so much for being here, and just enjoy the rest of the show.
Thanks.
And we see us later.
Okay. Ciao.
Hi.
With us is Nika Kramer. Hi, Nika. Welcome.
Hi, Mickey. Thank you.
Can you tell us something about your involvement with this exhibition?
Well, as you know, I've worked with Marty for 17 years. Many projects we did together, Hip Hop Files, Weeby Girls, and so on. You were at the Weeby Girls Festival here in Berlin in 2008 that we organized. And specifically this exhibition, Marty entrusted me with preparing all her images for print, for the catalog and the exhibition, and restoring some of the older images that had scratches and stuff. So I'm very glad that I was involved in this project. Thank you, Marty, for trusting me. I wish you were here. We miss you so much. I love you, and I can't wait to see you. Stay safe.
And it's no coincidence that we're standing here. So tell us a little bit about the pictures that we see.
Oh yeah, those are the images from the Weeby Girls book. They're all from the Weeby Girls book that we worked on in 2004 and that came out in 2005. Marty, after the Hip Hop Files, Marty said that she thought there weren't enough girls in the book, so she asked me if I wanted to do a book with her about B-girls. And of course I said yes. And I was the author, Marty was the photographer, and we traveled the world, more or less, to photograph and interview B-girls. We went to Korea, we went to the United States, we traveled all over. We were in Berlin at the Red Bull BC1 in 2005, at the Battle of the Year, IBE, we went everywhere.
So till now we have shown you some parts of the exhibition, not everything. There's things that we haven't shown you. For example, like Soweto. What's happening there?
Well, that's a section where Martha shows the photos that she took in Soweto, South Africa, which is a poor environment, and in southwest Baltimore, which looks a little bit like New York, the way we know it from the 70s. And it's a marvelous comparison between the two different places in this world.
And there is Martha Remixed. It's a section where artists took her pictures as an inspiration or as an idea and remixed it in their own way, like the big mural that we have seen. But that's not everything. You have Martha's World, which is like a collection of everything she has done the last 60 years.
For instance, her cameras are there. There are a lot of personal belongings, letters that she received from famous artists.
Diplomas.
Everything. It's beautiful. It's very personal.
Oh, that's an iPad with the, I think, 1,200 extra pictures.
Yes, and it's an addition to the section behind us, the artists at work. And you can search for artists by their name alphabetically, but also by year, by jam also, like
by jam.
Location. Yeah.
Are you in there?
Let's have a look. M. Mickey. I. C. Make La Rock.
Wow.
Here we go.
Okay. Where's that?
It's in Berlin. 2008 at the Weeby Girls event. It was nice. All these girls got together, performing, painting.
So
Good memories.
We will take a look if it's really great. Am I in there?
Let's have a look. Falk. F. Here we go. Falco.
Who's
But
that?
let's have
Two.
a
There are two Falcos. We hope you enjoyed the live stream. We most definitely had a lot of fun here. And please come here to Berlin, check out the exhibition, go to the webpage. It's called urban-nation.com, or on Instagram, it's urbannation_Berlin, because, you know, in these times, the opening times, they change sometimes. So check it out, come to Berlin and have fun here.
And for the last word, we give it back to New York now. Here is the curators and Martha herself. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Dankeschön.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Gute Nacht. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.